Hey everyone, welcome to the Daily for Friday, April 30th. I'm Greg Lawless alongside Simon Borg. And Simon, big weekend in MLS, 8 games on Saturday night, and it starts off with New York traveling down to RFK Stadium to take on DC United. DC winless on the season, New York top in the East right now.
It's a game that New York has to win. If we're to take their first place standing in the Eastern Conference legitimately, which there have been some doubts about it, you go into DC and beat the team that has 0 points and is just struggling in terms of injuries.
Now, DC, of course, they did get a win in the midweek in U.S. Open Cup. They beat FC Dallas 4-2. Got some decent goals. The 17-year-old Nahar got onto the score sheet in this one. I think this is a DC team that might actually come out and surprise New York. I agree with you. New York needs to get a result against these kinds of teams, but they didn't the last time they went on the road. They went to Chivas and they lost. And I think this might be a similar kind of struggle.
But I think that's where the questions began to arise about New York. After that Chivas game, they looked terrible in that game. But DC, I mean, not to throw water on their parade, but they
it's not much of a parade at this point. It's an Open Cup play-in game that they got the win.
Hartman factored into that game a little too much for my liking. So I'm taking that game with a grain of salt during the week, and I think New York has to have this game if they're to be taken seriously this year.
Well, the Red Bulls on top of the East, of course. Out in the West, the Los Angeles Galaxy are on top of the conference, and they face the bottom, or the second to bottom, let's say, in the East, the Philadelphia Union. Union making their first visit to the Home Depot Center. This is a game that I think Los Angeles should pretty easily get the win.
Yeah, and I think Bruce Arena will not expect anything less. I mean, here's a Philadelphia team that's not going to have Sebastian Letou, and they're limited in what they can do during a game, I believe. So LA should be able to command this game. And by the way, Buttle needs to get back on the scoring sheet. He goes a few weeks.
He's gone one game. He's gone one game.
He goes
we can't
a few weeks
say
without
that he needs
scoring
to get
goals
on after just one game.
But if he goes a few weeks without scoring goals, I think questions might begin to arise.
Well, it's one game at this point. Now, Peter Novak has been trying to get his young guys, especially on the Philadelphia Union team, to stay focused, to not get their heads down too much about the start of the season. Jack McInerney's getting a lot of playing time. We saw Denny Mwenga get out there in the Open Cup game this week for them. What do you think?
I mean, after that Open Cup game, we've heard what he did, and it's going to be interesting to see how the team reacts from that, where Novak put him through drills, kind of punishing the team for their Open Cup loss. And by the way, Philadelphia's president, Nick Sakevich, came out today and said that they should have even run more sprints. So the team morale, we're really going to get a look at what that team as a group is made of in LA against the best team in the league after coming off what they came off, the shame of what they came off.
Well, they're the best team in the league in the standings. However, you and I were talking earlier about the fact that maybe there's another team in the West that could be the best team in the league. They don't have it as a record right now, but the Colorado Rapids look tactically, technically, and going forward, especially with that tandem up top, like they could be real contenders this year.
They've been quietly moving up the standings, and Gary Smith has been making little adjustments here and there to the team. I thought that for me they were the most pleasant surprise from last weekend. The way they played, the way it seemed like they had their tactical formation just right. I think they faced a San Jose team over the weekend that's going to be very similar to New England in terms of how they lay on the field, and I think Colorado, again on the road, could really make another statement.
Well, Omar Cummings, obviously, and Connor Casey up top, they are the key to that team. Connor Casey starting to play sort of like a one-man lone striker up there, playing with his back to goal a lot. He set up the goal for Mastroeni last week. Omar Cummings able to drift a little bit more in underneath him. This tandem going up against the San Jose backline, which hasn't looked bad, right? They haven't looked dominating, but they haven't looked bad. Young Ike Opara in there as well. How much space are they going to find?
For me, the wild card is going to actually be Mehdi Belushi, because he had that free roaming role in the attacking midfield, and he's able to serve up Omar Cummings and Connor Casey in key spots to really hurt the opposing defense. So I think Mehdi Belushi is the wild card that excites me about that formation.
Belushi's coming into his own. San Jose, of course, this is a team that I think I don't even know what this team is all about at this point, actually. I'm not sure who they are, what they're about, whether they can actually go and get more results.
And it's a little worrisome when you see that one player is off their team, Andre Luis, the central midfielder, and they didn't have that much of that good a game against Chivas USA last week. So, I mean, we really need to see more of them. They had some confidence, so I think they'll give Colorado a challenge, but I think Colorado, this is very important for them, especially going into Wednesday.
Of course, LA and Colorado will meet on Wednesday of next week. But first, Colorado have to take on San Jose on Saturday night. Well, yesterday, Jurgen Klinsmann was announced as one of the new analysts or announcers for ESPN. It's a statement by ESPN. They've gone and gotten a big name. However, in his comments, he made a couple of, offhand remarks about American soccer and in some ways how he feels he's going to teach American fans. I know this ruffled feathers for us, at least.
Yeah, and here's a guy in Jurgen Klinsmann who's lived in the United States for a long time.
Since 1998, he's been in California.
Is set to visit the Home Depot Center and is set to have good relations with the coaching staff and several coaches in MLS and players. And I think in yesterday's comments, he came across as really not having a grasp, I believe, of U.S. soccer, saying that we don't have a style. And I don't know why he would pick on that point. I think it really came off as condescending to me. The U.S. has shown a different style of play against different opponents, but when it comes to the big boys, they play with clearly a defensive posture, looking to counterattack. So the fact that Klinsmann would to me, he shows that maybe he's lacking a little understanding of our game.
Well, what he actually said was U.S. soccer so far hasn't found yet their real identity regarding how U.S. soccer should be played. I'm talking about a philosophy, a style of play that kind of marks every nation. We'll be discussing this a little bit more later on today on a new debate team, so make sure you check that out. And, of course, a full slate of games on Saturday night. I'm Greg Lawless, Simon Borg for MLSsoccer.com.